quotes in this book. Parker just falls short. Parker was like, quick, 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 quick. Ask for it, right? You'll ask for it, so I'm just delivering. Cheers for the underdog. Hi wonderful people, and welcome back to my channel, Book Craze. How are you? What's up? What is the scene? I have been given a task. I have been given a challenge, but I think I have succeeded. I read a lot of dark romances. The books that I read come with trigger warnings. However, I am a mood reader, so I don't only read dark romances or books with kidnapping, cheating, very unhealthy, toxic relationships, right? Books without violence, mafia, you know, that's one of my go-to tropes. I also read the good stuff, right? I also read lighter things, cute things, sweet books. I do all of that. So I was asked to provide some recommendations without any of these things. And bestie, I got you. You know I have your back. So with that being said, these books fall within these parameters, okay? No cheating, no love triangle, no mafia, no violence, no kidnapping, no abusive, toxic, unhealthy relationships, no betrayal, vengeance, revenge, none of that. These books don't have any of that, but listen, they do come with good stories. They do come with good storylines. So if you are interested in seeking a book with more of a healthy relationship, I would say this for me borders on cute and lovey and something you can just like sit down, relax and enjoy without having to be prepared for any triggers. Then keep listening. All of the books that I mentioned will be listed in the description box as usual. So let's do it. I have two books by this author, Xavier Neal. Hear me out. With these two books, they are interracial, yes, but they're also an age gap romance, but a reverse age gap. So yeah, the females in the books are the older of the two. Normally we would get, you know, the regular, the male is older, but no, I'm not gonna give you that. We're doing it reverse, all right? This book here, Aleatory. So we have Nick and Sola. In this book, Sola, she is a well-renowned author and she's just taken some time off from, you know, being on the scene. Her books are being turned into movies. She's living the good life, but she needs to take some time off. And so she goes to a small town on a vacation and her best friend lives there. However, she falls for her best friend's son. No, I told you that it's going to have a nice storyline. There's going to be something interesting, right? If everything that I mentioned in the intro of this video is removed, we must have something to give it a little spice, all right? So yes, she falls for her best friend's son, but he is relentlessly pursuing her. Like the storyline in this book is mwah. The chemistry between Nyx and Sola, it's there. Listen, Nyx is the type of man that doesn't give up. Like he knew Sola was it for him, and so he pursued her. As much as she didn't want to, because she understood that, listen, this is my best friend's son. Yes, there is an age gap between them. She tried her utmost best not to fall for Nyx. And that was the sweetest part. And then we have The Owner, which is an age gap surprise pregnancy. Oh my God. This is one where what happens in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas. And it is also one where it is a sports romance. The heroine, Harlow, she is older than the hero, Brendan. And they went to Vegas. They met. They hooked up. Boom, when she comes back, she finds out that she's pregnant. And this one hit the mark for me. She recently took over a hockey team her dad passed away and now she is the general manager. And being a female in that very violent sports industry, trying to gain the respect of not only the players but other management, it comes with its challenges. And so trying to navigate all that with Brandon, who works as a bartender, and bringing him on board to work with her so that they can actually work on their relationship, because they are about to be parents. I get this one, it is so good. To me, it just hit the mark when it comes to that chemistry between the two. Like, they are almost polar opposites, y'all, but they work. They absolutely work. This one is emotionally moving. It is Sunni, and you don't have that overused miscommunication between the hero and the heroine. The characters were mature. Yes, you had that feistiness. Yes, you have that angst. But listen, it was all grown-ups. Right? This one, it is your black love romance, which I have been getting into. When I tell you I have been reading a lot, I'm just in the mood for that. Because love said so, we meet Avian and Samson. She is the oldest amongst her siblings, and so she is really carrying the load. Her parents passed away and she's living with her grandfather, who is also ailing. So she feels that level of responsibility to take care of them. And so there's no one taking care of her. In comes Samson. He is a big person in the IT field. He is running a very successful technology business. And so they meet at the club. Sparks fly, and then Avian she runs away. She's like, this is so out of character for me. And he spends time trying to find her. He's like, where is she? Where is she? And listen, I enjoyed this book so much, because when they meet, it's like a huge surprise. The circumstances surrounding where they meet and who was present had me laughing. But regardless of all of that, when they meet and they embark on their relationship, it is not at all toxic. Listen, the level of maturity between both of them, it is phenomenal. And not only that, they get to the point where they're married. However, things from the past can always come back to bite you in the butt. And how you deal with it at that point in time says a lot. It can make your relationship stronger, or it can definitely break your relationship. And that is what you get in this book, because love said so. Hey, man, I devoured this book. Like, phew, that's how it was, start to finish. Devoured, because the story was so entertaining. It was very much encouraging and refreshing to read this book. I have another sports romance, but in this one, the hero Brighton, he's actually an athlete. In this one, Come Back to Me, this is your type of forbidden relationship, forbidden romance. And the reason is Brighton, he played on a next team, and so Brighton was always warring against particular members of the Hawk team, right? And now he's in a situation where, because of that amount of tension and the things that he did, and you saw what he did throughout this entire series, book series, okay? So if you want to get to know more about Brighton, you may have to read the other books to find out about the different situations Brighton found himself in, but it's not necessary. He's traded and he's placed on the Hawk team. No one likes him. He goes to the club and he meets Chrissy. Now, all of Chrissy's friends, they are either married to someone on the Hawks or they are in a relationship with someone on the Hawks. So Brighton is definitely off limits for Chrissy. But you know what? All her friends are happy and Brighton is making her happy. And so they try to keep their relationship a secret. And even with all of that, everything in the dark must come to light people. There's no way to hide it. I like, one, their relationship, although it was a secret and although it was forbidden, there was no miscommunication, there was nothing toxic, no one was forcing the relationship. It's like, if this is what you want, I am here, right? I understand your position, and if you want to be happy, I can make you happy, kind of thing. Chrissy, she's sweet, she's caring, and seeing her other friends in that position, seeing her other friends in, you know, happy relationships, like, you know, she feels like the odd one. Listen, I was cheering for Chrissy and Brighton throughout this book. I am one where I want the underdog to win, and they did get there happily ever after, and I loved it. Brighton, he is the #1 hated brawler, right? He is the enemy, but however, he's also misunderstood. No one took the time to get to know Brighton, and I love that Chrissy could do that for him, y'all. Cheers for the underdog. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I read this book back when it was released in November, and I enjoyed it. So it definitely needed to make the cut. When reading this book, I found that there was nothing toxic between Josiah and Yasmin, and they met in college. They had a really good relationship. However, something happened between them, and it was just too much for them to deal with at that point in time in their lives, and so they decided to separate, divorce, and go their separate ways. However, they still like co-parents, they still run a successful business. Now, the reason why they broke up, I am not going to go into, because you definitely need to read the book. I don't want to give out too much spoilers, but it was something where things just got really unhealthy between them. And I think that separation gave them time to come to terms. However, we are straying. The thing is, Before I Let Go is all about where one of them is ready to move on. That person is ready to go into a relationship. Yes, they have been separated for, I think, 2 years or so. I can't remember the exact number, but they are ready to form a relationship and move on with their life. But before they let their partner go, before they let the love of their life go, they want to see if there's something still there. And there was. This book, it is sweet. They were a magnet. Like, I enjoyed the bantering between them. It wasn't like out of hand. Nothing got violent. There wasn't like this big, you know, curse out situation, any huge confrontation. If you want a book that may make you cry, because the healing that takes place in this book, I absolutely love. I love a second chance romance. Y'all know that. If you did not know that, now you know. I'm all for second chances, and they got their so needed second chance in Before I Let Go. Defeat by Evelyn Sola. Listen, this is a friends with benefits situation. So we meet Delaney and David. Delaney is about to get married. However, she doesn't want to marry that person. Her parents, particularly her mother, is forcing the situation. Why? She doesn't know. She doesn't have a clue. But she has always tried to please her mother. And her friend Summer is all there, like, if you don't want to do this, I'm here to support you. And so on her wedding day, in her wedding dress, Delaney runs. And she stays with Summer's brother-in-law. Staying there, they form a friends with benefit situation, because it's like, this is the first person that she's able to choose on her own, because a lot of her choices was taken away. Listen, this book had me in my emotions. The mother. Listen, the mother will have you rolling. The mother will have steam coming out of your ears. That's how upsetting the mother is. But you know, you need that. You know you need that because you need to make the story interesting. And with David being there, like David showed her so much love, so much compassion, so much understanding. He was there to support her throughout her journey of healing and becoming financially independent of her parents. And the things this man did, he's like, oh, you want to take advantage of someone that cannot stand up to you? Step to her. Yeah, step to her and you'll be dealing with me. Don't play. Don't play. Hey. I love David. I love David. Although he's the player, he wasn't like a player with Delaney. She definitely got the man of her dreams, yo. Then and now it is a small town second chance romance. Now we meet Leo and Serena, and they were high school sweethearts. Like, things were really good between them. Serena, she wanted more for her life. She's a dancer, and so she felt like she needed to leave this small town, and so she just upped and she left. And around 10 years she didn't return home. And now that, you know, she has experienced life and done what she wanted to do with her career, she returns to her small town and opens a dance studio. And who will be attending her dance studio? Leo's daughter. So Leo, he is a single dad and he's also a police officer. The humor in this book, it is really nice. And yes, Leo should definitely hold a grudge because Serena was the love of his life. He tried to move on. Was he aggressive and vengeful? No, he wasn't. He gave her the room that she needed, and Serena, like, she fell in love with his daughter. Like, the way their relationship rekindled, it was really nice. It wasn't both of them like arguing and spewing hurtful words. There was nothing like that. And I think relationships where you rekindle like that, I think is way better than one where one is going to just be holding a grudge or just throwing words to hurt the other person. Like, oh, that is not necessary. And that definitely did not happen in Then and Now. This one, it was swoony, it was sweet. The spice was there. It wasn't overly spicy, like my level of spice, but there was spice in there. There was some really nice hot scene. Like, the tension was built so nicely in this one. There were moments of regret. There were forgiveness taking place, as well as redemption. So there's a lot packed into this book. You'll ask for it, right? You'll ask for it, so I'm just delivering. Involuntary. Here, this is like your kind of medical-ish romance. It is an interracial, yes. In this one, we have a successful business owner, Stephanie, and we also have Dr. Anderson. Now, Stephanie, she adopted her niece. Her sister is just no good. Just think about that, no good parent. So she legally adopted her niece and has been caring for her niece. She has allowed her sister to take the niece because the niece wanted to get to know her mother. They met because something happened to her niece, and so because Stephanie's her legal guardian, she showed up at the hospital, but after the mother actually showed up. And so her mother wasn't allowing her niece to get proper treatment. She intervened, and that's how she met Dr. Anderson, and they hit it off. Her niece needed to go for several follow-ups, and because Stephanie is so involved, Stephanie, she's like a really awesome person. She's there ensuring that her niece get all the medical treatments, all the follow-up that she needs, and so she kept running into Dr. Anderson. And so they decided to date, and they had like a really good thing. But Dr. Anderson, he's not just that. Like, his friends, he has friends in certain places. So when her niece gets kidnapped, he sheds that medical coat and he is ready to lay down to protect her niece. This is a slow burn, I'm telling you. A slow burn. The story, it's so nice. The story is nice. From the time you start to read, it's like, damn, you get roped into this world of Stephanie and Dr. Anderson. Y'all, this was one of my favorites interracial romances of 2022. Retrograde, Forget Me Not. In this book, it is a second chance romance. It is an interracial romance. However, the hero has amnesia. Nico and Carissa, they have a good relationship. The book starts off with Nico getting in a car accident and not being able to remember anything for the past 6 years. Within that 6-year period, he met Carissa, got engaged to Carissa, married Carissa, and they were planning to start their family. And he could not remember all of that. Nothing. And so she's there trying to support him. And what he does, he asks for a divorce. He's like, how am I supposed to be with you, love you, when I don't know you? And he wasn't intentionally mean or anything like that. He was just concerned, like he genuinely did not know her. And all his friends were like, hey, you're a fool, blah, 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 blah. And so they divorced and went their separate ways. He moved on, she moved on, and they end up rekindling stuff. Now, the way that it happened, it was so, like, I couldn't stand Nico. Because, listen, I'm telling you, even now, I'm still upset with Nico. Because he finally stepped into the picture when she was ready to move on completely. You had like the grieving of the relationship. You had where she had to grieve over Nico because why? He literally died to her in a sense that he couldn't remember her. So there are going to be emotional parts, the angst, the tension. This is also a slow burn, y'all. The build up. But listen, there's one scene in a Caribbean island, and I say no more. I shall not say another word. Haley and Aiden. Oh my god, yo. Haley and Aiden in Northern Stars by Brittainy Cherry or Brittainy C. Cherry. This is your new adult, second chance, interracial celebrity romance. This book had me crying. So this is also your childhood enemies to friends, then friends to lovers, and then kind of, I wouldn't say enemies, but they definitely weren't, in a good place. So we meet Haley and Aiden in their childhood, at that age where boys don't like girls or girls can't stand boys. And then you slowly saw that dynamic change between them. They also grew up in the house next door to each other. Haley grew up with her parents and Aiden grew up with whom he assumed was his parents. Nothing regarding his parentage is revealed until the end. But that's not what had me crying. In this book, Haley struggled with her weight. And when they got to high school, people would tease Haley, but Aiden was there to support her throughout everything. And yes, their relationship changed in high school, but they promised that they would always be together, that, their friendship would never break. However, Aiden went to Hollywood and things changed. They grew apart, and someone whispered something in Haley's ear, and so she broke things off. with them. Although they were going strong, yes, he was in Hollywood, he remained faithful, she remained faithful during their long distance relationship, but she felt like she was keeping him back, and that person preyed on her self-esteem, and so they broke up. And then he comes back 5 years later. He's like, you know what, you are my person. That's how close they were. He was her person and vice versa. Like, the quotes in this book. Listen, Brittainy Cherry, I've never read a book by this author that I did not enjoy. She just pulls at your emotion. Every book that I've read by her, I almost cried or cried, bawled my eyes out. This one had me bawling my eyes out. Yo, this, I highly recommend reading this book. Like, if this is tropes that you enjoy, definitely read this one. I love all. I'm recommending all, but this one, the level of emotions in this one, oh my God. Bad Husband. This one, it's not a second chance romance, but there are marital issues. It is not like abusive or anything like that. We meet Madison and Ridley. Ridley, he's all about providing for his family, so he's working extremely hard to ensure that they have what they need, what they want. However, that comes at an expense, and the expense or the price that he had to pay is his family, because he was not involved in his children's life, and his wife felt neglected. She felt unloved. She felt like his attention was placed elsewhere, and so she filed to dissolve their marriage. And so he had 60 days to make his wife fall back in love with him. And he realized how much he was actually missing out from being with his kids, from not spending time with his wife. So this one was a really nice read. It was a really nice read, and for people in relationships, you're gonna get it. You are gonna get it. And those that are not in a relationship, you're gonna learn from it and be like, okay, listen, this is what I don't want, this is what I want. Listen, is he a bad husband? That's up for you to judge. I don't know if he's a bad husband, but for me, in terms of reading this book, I absolutely enjoyed it. Saddle up, cowboy. This is an interracial reverse age gap book. This book, I was laughing. The first chapter, I was literally rolling and laughing with Saddle Up Cowboy. So first, we are introduced to Parker. Parker, he is a cowboy in a small town. He had his high school sweetheart, and so they promised to keep themselves until they were married. But things changed, and his girlfriend wanted to experience life, and she went off to college thinking, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. And then we meet Parker. Parker, she's an author, and she just broke up with her fiance. She found out that he was cheating and stuff like that. And so she's like, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. She decides to pack up and move to a small town. So she's there, and her friend is like, a way to get over your ex is to get under a new one. And so Parker is eyeing her, she's eyeing Parker, and then he's like, you know what, we can go to a room. They go to a room, and Parker prematurely ends everything. Like, after this big heated moment, the tension rise, the chemistry is there. Parker just falls short. Parker was like, quick. She's like, what is this? What is this? Only to find out that Parker is her best friend's husband's brother. Small world. And so they spoke, and he's into her, and he's like, you know, let me get a second chance. Like, you know, XYZ is the situation. And his friends were pushing him like, listen, it's time to lose your V card. It's time to lose your V card. So, you know, he was just too excited. And so he had to work in order to get back in her good graces, in order for her to, you know, date him. And so you saw where they met, things went downhill, but he was very persistent. And so they got back into things. They started talking. Then they went on a couple of dates before that happened. Just seeing the growth, seeing that communication, seeing the bantering and the chemistry and the tension. Oh my goodness. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. This book definitely had me laughing and giggling and smiling and literally just happy. You know what I mean? I was just happy. All right. So that's it. 12 books. Good relationships. If not good relationships, they're working on it. Nothing toxic. There's nothing harsh. No violence. No abuse. Love the heroes. Love the heroines. Made me cry, made me laugh, made me giggle, felt swoony. That's what you're gonna get from these books. I hope I was able to achieve my goal. I hope I was able to meet your expectations with these recommendations, because these are all books that I love and I enjoyed. If you'd like me to do more recs like these, definitely mention it in the comments below, and don't forget to follow me on my various social media platforms, and look out until I post another video.